Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm here today with Pam Smid. Pam is an MPS student, a Master of Psychotherapy and Spirituality student at the college, and she's graduating this year, this November. Congratulations, Pam.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. It's nice to join with you here tonight, and looking forward to our conversation.
I am as well. Thank you for wanting to speak with me.
Yeah. Well, Pam, let me begin with just a nice little simple question, a pretty typical one. Um, what first drew you to St. Stephen's? How did you end up here, and what attracted you to the college?
St. Stephen's was a hidden gem that was hidden in plain sight. I had completed an after degree program at the U of A, and despite the St. Stephen's campus being literally in the building next to the education building, I had no awareness of St. Stephen's presence during my time finishing that bachelor's degree. So 9 years later, I found myself in a position. I was a working professional. I was a mom, and personally, my family and I were just moving through the healing process of my daughter. She had been unexpectedly had become really ill, and we were as she was in recovery, our family was sort of trying to move through what that experience had been for us. And it was around that same time that I really started thinking about a graduate program and how I might want to pursue some additional training. And the description of the St. Stephen's graduate program in the counseling, the MPS program, just hit a depth of meaning and resonance that I just instantly knew that it was a space that I needed to be. So it was full circle for me that 9 years later, after completely walking past the St. Stephen's building for years and not realizing that it existed, this gem came into my life at precisely the moment that I needed it to.
Wow, that's amazing. What kind of serendipitous? What a story.
Yes, indeed. I feel that very, very fortunate that it came across my path when it did.
So, what have you found unique about your studies at St. Steve's? Like, what's really stood out for you while you've been here?
You know, I have a background in both psychology and education. And so I spent, over 6 years in sort of the stereotypical university academia world. And what appealed, why I was drawn to St. Stephen's was because I knew from the get-go that it was going to be a very different, more holistic, creative approach to the learning that I wanted to gain for myself, both professionally and personally. So start to finish, it was just a very different program. I was really drawn to the fact that this particular graduate program required personal therapy hours. That was something quite different from the other programs that I had been looking at and researching. And that was a really important piece for me. I knew that for myself in a professional capacity, I really wanted to make sure that I was also addressing the personal piece. And I really just respected that this program takes that so seriously. So really that's what initially drew me, plus the whole body, mind, spirit integrative approach to the whole healing process, and how the model of change and how we transform as human beings is looked at from a much wider lens than anything that I had previously encountered in sort of the more traditional academia world.
Right.
So that between that and then the small intimate classes, and I really did actually I live in Calgary, so I really appreciated the flexibility of the 5-day intensive model and the online learning model. It worked well for me as a working professional and a mom with some small children. It was just a perfect blend for me, and a perfect approach to, an alignment with my values and what I already believe to be true about human nature and how we evolve and change.
Wow, that's awesome. Let me ask a question. So you're in the MPS and you chose to do a thesis rather than a capstone. And our students have a choice to do either a thesis or a capstone. I wonder what led you to do the thesis and how we found that thesis process.
I had entered the St. Stephen's program with an idea of what I might want to research and investigate as part of a thesis, towards the end of my studies. When I did start the program, there was only the one sort of end milestone offered. And so I feel like my head was already sort of wrapped around that process right from the get-go.
Right.
And I also feel that the nature of what I was wanting to investigate and research and look into, that inquiry process just was much better suited for the thesis process than it was for the capstone, just in my personal experience. The process was an arduous one. As I was walking through the thesis process, I was also pregnant and delivered my third child, and COVID happened. So it was a very unique thesis process, to say the least. But that being said, I would have never, if I knew then what I know now, I would have never changed a thing. That entire process, although, difficult work and, like I say, a really arduous process, it was so meaningful. And I mean, my entire experience at St. Stephen's has been transformative, but that thesis process was just a remarkable end step to my graduate training, and the insights and information and how I'm able to then take that information that I've learned in my thesis process and move that forward with me professionally is invaluable. So I'm just so grateful for that.
We try at St. Steve's to foster a pretty diverse community. It's something we're continuing to grow into, but I wonder, how have you experienced diversity at St. Stephen's and how has it enhanced your experience at the college?
I think that is the diversity of both the teaching faculty as well as the learning community, my fellow students. That has been one of my favorite aspects of my time at St. Stephen's. The class cohorts are typically quite small. And so the ability to be able to learn and grow and just gain some really meaningful insights into the different lived experiences and belief and value systems that the diverse culture, that comes to this college offers is incredibly valuable. I have been in classes with people of all faith walks of life. I have been in classes with people across Canada, but then also internationally, so from different countries around the world. And, I just think that breadth and depth of diversity offers such an enriching learning environment for all of us involved. So I am so grateful for the diversity and the opportunity to learn different perspectives and about the lived experiences of others.
Yeah. Okay, one last question. It's my favorite one on the list here. I think it might also be the most difficult question, so put it out there. We're living at such an interesting time in history, and there are some real and some tangible needs in our world today. I wonder how your time at St. Stephen's has equipped you to address these needs and to do this work in our world today.
It is a very applicable question, and I would say a pretty complicated one to try to address, but I do appreciate it. I think, a lot of my research work focused on self-care and holistic self-care and the importance of holistic self-care. And as I've already shared, I fundamentally believe that my experience at St. Stephen's has been such an important journey in my own holistic self-care and how I've been able to learn and grow as a human being. And I do believe that that is a necessary precursor for me being able to go out into the world in any capacity, as a mom, as a working professional, as a counselor, as a fellow human being, moving through, this life, that I need to make sure that I'm tending to myself well so that I can be able to serve and offer, what I am able to offer in a whole and healthy way. And so I would say first and foremost, my training at St. Steve's, my time at St. Stephen's has helped me ground and become a very much more holistically minded and just a more healthy version of myself that is able then to go on and do the work that I'm hoping to do in this world. And that does include in my personal life with, you know, my relationship with my partner and my children. And so I would say that that is a big piece of it. I do work professionally in the education system with students. And so already just the lens and just the language, I mean, we don't need to speak specifically about spirituality to be able to sort of integrate a more holistically minded or wider lens conversation about you know, priorities and values and beliefs, and making sure that we're living in alignment with those. So already I see my training working, you know, for me in that capacity, not to mention, you know, what I'm hoping to do in terms of moving in a private practice direction. That's very much grounded in the philosophies and the principles of what is, you know, lived out through the building of St. Steve's and all the people that are a part of it.
Wonderful, Pam. Really exciting. Really excited to celebrate with you this November as you convocate. We're sad that we can't do it in person, but you know, someday we'll all be able to come together and celebrate in person. And we're just really excited for your journey and your time at the college. And thank you so much for sharing with us tonight.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about my experience.